give a little introduction about yourself and your culture.
Oh yeah. So, my name is Ludovico Menegon. I was born and raised in a very small town outside of Venice in Italy called Castelfranco Veneto. And right when I was about 17, I moved to the US for my senior year of high school. In this senior year of high school, I met Zach Gito, a brilliant guitar player that from a very early age had an exceptional skill and he was professional at it since the day I met him. And so we formed this duo that we play acoustic music, and then eventually we formed an electric band. And it's slowly developing into a great thing that brings us a lot of joy, and it brings a lot of people a lot of joy. About Italian culture, I have to say that Italy is a wonderful country, a country well worth visiting. Its trademarks are that there are quality ingredients that make up really great food recipes, and that's partly because of the Mediterranean climate and a variety of elements that I don't really know about, but the food is delicious. We're talking spaghetti, tagliatelle, lasagne, and when I come here, I still have my mom, Italian chef.
He's killer, man. I mean, seriously.
And but I love the United States so much. I love the food. I love the culture as well. I'm not completely closed-minded about travel and other cultures and things. So it's always been one of my traits that has helped me a lot through life.
So what got you interested in both music and film? Like, how's making music similar to making films,
In high school, I was a terrible student. Instead of studying, I would make home videos with my camcorder that my dad bought me for my birthday. And I also have artists in my family that I could shoot video for. And one day I brought a guitar into my bedroom, and every now and then when I wasn't feeling like studying, I would pick it up and I would just play a few songs on it. And eventually I got to a point where I was ignoring my studies and my homework so much that I became a professional video filmographer and musician. I remember my mom comes into my room and she goes, "You gotta stop playing the guitar and you gotta start studying more, you gotta start doing your homework more." And now I'm a professional musician.
Yeah, man. I mean, he juggles both in a majestic way. I mean, there was a point where I wasn't always sure if you could manage to do both at the same time, but you really did kind of find like a sick balance between really putting yourself into the work with film. You work very hard in film, and with music, I mean, it's what captured me to play with you.
Why do you love samurai?
Long answer.
I got time.
A few months ago, I downloaded from the internet a hefty amount of high-quality samurai movies because I heard about this great film director called Akira Kurosawa. And I started watching one after the other. When it came time to develop my Stockton film project, I was centered around the Frankenstein concept, and I was envisioning this big monster that was walking slow, and he was a threat, almost like a zombie-like threat, like kind of still very slow and idealistically a danger. When it came time to decide for an opponent for this giant monster, I thought that a samurai with the katana blade, which means Japanese sword,
Yes.
could have been the perfect opponent on screen with the Frankenstein, and everybody I told that to, they kind of disagree with me. They said that doesn't make sense, but it made for a fun concept.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, yeah, I think you really did. Like, it was so, I think, vindicating to also hear your film teacher like reference Kurosawa, like when your movie was getting played in that class. I was like, whoa, because it did kind of reach that like you could feel like that's where the inspiration was from. Yeah, it was really cool.
Give me a little introduction about your guys' band. Like, what's the name of it?
Yeah.
The genre?
The name of our electric band is Blue Street. It's a project that was born when I decided to assemble the best musicians I knew, which was Zach as the guitar player, lead guitar player, Rudy Kreutzer as the drummer, an incredible percussionist, Jack Hall as the bass player. We went through a few bass players that were all very talented in their own ways. Right now we have Jack. He's really great with the material. The band plays mostly blues, rock, folk, funky, 80s kind of music. It really pleases a vast amount of people, and it's a good thing to be a live band and to not just be focused on a niche of audience, because it helps. It goes a long way if you're more inclusive with your material.
You know, yeah, I think that, you know, between me and Ludo, I think we always desired, like, I personally feel that there's a lot of bands that kind of just, you know, are directly driven by the art that they're trying to make, and like they have to put it out in the strongest way that represents how they do it. But I think that what me and Ludo also realized is you kind of got to make that connection between the people who are listening to your music as well. Like, make it in a way where, you know, we have all the answers in our head of what we're trying to say, but we have to, that's the thing about music, is you have to get it across to those people in a way where they understand something and feel something, you know? And I think that's why I've always enjoyed, you know, making music with you and really getting into the weeds with it. You know, there's always, I think that we're not polar opposites. You know, I don't think we are, like, in the way that we pursue like what we want in music, but I think they really complement each other in a way because they're different. You know, you're very like passionate and really close to the things that you make. You know, and I kind of feel like I guess in some way I open up that door for exploration to what those things are. You know, and I think those work together.
He's got the keys to the doors.
Hopefully. I don't know what key, but I mean, I'll find one.
What was the feeling when you guys performed live for the first time?
Oh, man.
Our electric band was put together late 2022.
Yeah.
But we had a reason to gather our material together for our first live gig mid 2023 at the Golden Nugget. And our first live performance felt like nothing else, because we have been accustomed to our acoustic music and our own mixing and our own system, and stepping on the stage with the electric guitar, different instrument, different people, more people, you know, bass and drums, and then this much greater sound, this greater presence in the room that made people dance more, that made people smile more, made people drink more. But
always time for drinking.
It was a phenomenal experience. How did you interpret that, Zach?
I think that's very, you know, true, and it's funny because, you know, I think that there's been so many times in the past, you know, where it's like, because that, I guess, like, is like our point where that setup of that band had like finally congealed in that way. But, you know, we had a couple other gigs like in the original music world and the house show world as well. Places like the Rat's Den, you know, we played before.
Anchor Rock Club.
That came from the Golden Nugget stuff, you know, and
terrific feelings.
Yeah.
The massiveness of the sound.
Yeah.
It just feels like this giant roaring behind you.
and they've all been such different scenarios, you know, like, I don't think there's ever been a time where we haven't been, like, pressed in a capacity to pull together that band. I mean, we do it to ourselves, but it's for the fun of it, you know? And...
Our bass player plays darts with our pictures.
He's just waiting, yeah.
That's how he gets really good at it.
We love Jack, but,
like, you good.
But, you know, like, it's I think it started with the original music, and we did a show at the Rat's Den, and it was crazy because I was in I believe music college at that time.
Hawaiian shirts.
It was a wind up. I was rocket popped up, you know. And we were just, you know, we had like Kobe on bass then, and Anthony singing. And it was I think the first time we played together for that gig, because you'd done all the practicing while I was gone with the fellas in order to pull it together. We had like one rehearsal the day before the show, and then we went out and did the show. And it, you know, it's like in a guy's basement. We're really good friends with the guy Adam, you know. It's in his basement, it's dirty, there's the floor is dirt, and people are moshing, and like I remember a memory so specific because I was right in front of it when it happened. We were playing our song Fulltime, which is kind of, you know, this big jam, like Santana like jam, and there was a guy who just went head over heels in the mosh pit and like landed on our PA in front of us, and just like got back up and kept going. I was like, I think we're playing the right music right now, if that's the case, you know. And I haven't seen that guy since. I don't know what happened after that show, but you know, there's been all different times, and you know, with Anchor Rock Club, it was just such a, you know, I mean, you can speak on it, I think, as well. You know, it's just a wonderful, like, felt like so professional and like a wonderful place with people who really wanted to see our original music.
What are the challenges or obstacles of having multiple careers, of you doing both film and music, and how can you balance them?
As a college student who is pursuing a career in both filmmaking and as a musician, there are many obstacles that come with doing both at the same time, but there's also a lot of great benefits. For example, sometimes you might be required to overlap a video shoot with a band gig, or the opposite. Sometimes you're required to, you know. And other times you find that some of the equipment really intertwines greatly. For example, if you're in a band, you have really good audio equipment, and if you're a filmmaker, you have really good video equipment. Sometimes the two come together really nicely, because then you're like, well, you know, good audio is part of good video, and then, you know, sometimes you need video for your band, so it comes in handy. So it's a good pair to work with because they're not so different. They have their commonalities. But it's also fun. It's fun to do both. It's a little bit of variety.
Yeah, definitely got the both, and I mean, I always see the hard work, you know, that comes out of it. I mean, I think in both ways you really do end up making the best of both. I mean, it's hard work. I've definitely seen the hard work for sure.
Question for you, Zach.
Yes.
What is it like to work with Ludo as a colleague?
Working with Ludo as a colleague, I think what drives me to work with him is it's always a unique experience, whether, you know, for the better or sometimes, you know, the worse. I think that I hang out with you and do music with you because you're so unique in that way, you know. I find that your responses sometimes are so it's so unusual and so not something I'm not prepared for, that it just drives me to be more intrigued about something that like ends up coming out like in a very like thought out and descriptive way, you know, because I think that you can do both, and I think that's what gets translated, you know, across. I think that, you know, me and you kind of share in different ways, you know, like the want to communicate with people, you know, and I think that, you know, through me and him working together on, you know, the album and this whole music thing, and even a little bit of Frankenstockton, you know, I think that it helps, you know, it helps me and him be able to not only talk to each other better, but also talk to others better. And like we were saying earlier, you know, with the music writing process, it's always different, you know, because I think we're always trying to we're trying to move in different directions with our music, and there's always new challenges that are brought up by doing that, and some of them are easier than others.
What's it like to work with Ludo as a colleague?
Well, I definitely consider him to be more of a friend than a colleague, but we definitely done a lot of work together and kind of gotten to know each other through working. But yeah, he's, you know, a great partner to work with. You know, I think we mingle very well in terms of like the video work we've done and the editing work. He's very laid back, so that helps, you know, like he doesn't put too much pressure on you, which, you know, can be an issue with like some people in the business and all. But yeah, honestly, he's like more of a friend than a colleague to me, and so yeah, I would say yeah, it's definitely great working with him.
What is one word that you would use to describe Ludo?
If I could describe Ludo in one word, I would honestly just say that he's very dynamic. You know, like he is very talented in all these different areas when it comes to production, like with audio, you know, video, you know, he does, you know, music, you know, he's in a band, and so he has that, but he also has, you know, experience with, you know, video production and like, you know, working with film and editing. And so yeah, it's just definitely kind of, yeah, being around him and seeing like all the different things that he can do is very inspiring, I would say. And it's definitely like useful to know different things when you are working with media and that kind of thing. But yeah, dynamic, I guess I'd say, you know, if I could describe him in a word.